Hey y'all, this is Ash with Optics. I will be going over Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this will be all about the spoilers. If you want a review without spoilers, check out Joe's video. Like I said, this video will be all spoilers, so you have been warned. I don't doubt you're wondering, why are you giving the spoilers video, Ash? Well, that's because I have never heard of this game or any of the details about it prior to the announcement of the game. I literally knew of just Cloud from Smash Bros, and that is it. I literally had not a single spoiler provided to me, unlike Joe, of course. Now granted, I only watched the first video clip and refused to watch any more after that because I just wanted to get enough of the catch of the game or the interest of it without any other additional spoilers or ideas to run through my mind. Granted, I did listen to the soundtrack just to get a feel for the game, and it was beautiful. Definitely recommend listening to it if you haven't already. Enough about me, let's talk about the game story. The opening scene was very intriguing, and it also blew my mind in regards to the world we were about to explore. For those of you who had played the demo, you would notice a slight change in the game storyline for at least the first 30 minutes to an hour. But even these slight noticeable changes, it just added to the story, and it was still fantastic. The moment I got very invested into this game was when you're first finally just seeing Cloud's perspective in regards to what's the story going to be about. And it was an intense scene where Cloud is literally forced to just slow down to a slow walk. And what seems to be like a flashback, and all of a sudden the controller starts going crazy. Like I literally felt Joe's controller shaking on the couch. And the fire surrounding him was super alarming. And for this scene taking place, it was definitely dramatic. And it really placed you in a feeling of suffocation with the flames just everywhere and the reactions of Cloud and just the aspect of curiosity of what on earth is going on here. And then you get this random guy out of nowhere named Sephiroth almost picking on Cloud, and it made the whole scene rather fearsome of what is exactly happening and who is this guy. Once you get past this very terrifying and overwhelming scene, this is when you actually start to meet the players of this game. And you meet Jessie, Biggs, Wedge, Barrett, and Tifa. And of course, the most adorable little girl named Marlene. But a little bit of a backstory of everyone. Just the feel that I started to get was that Jessie is clearly sassy and very flirtatious, which makes it very entertaining. Then you have Biggs, who is that boy that's on your team, that's the A player. So he's the cutie boy and very sweet, of course. Then you have Wedge, who is your smart, techie guy who has a heart of gold. Then you have Barrett. Clearly the brute force, with very intimidating, and honestly, he was very much so a jerk in the very beginning. Then you have Tifa, who is this gorgeous brains of the group, and of course, once again, Marlene, who is absolutely adorable, and just to give you a little bit more of a story, she is Barrett. As to how she is Barrett, or that backstory, I'm hoping we get that information in the next game. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what exactly is Joe or I's way of playing a game. Joe's the type to be willing to just go for pure storyline and beat the game as fast as he can, completely under level. I'm the type of person that takes a very long time in regards to how I like to play the game. I have to play every side mission. I have to get every type of obstacle course done before I can move on to get more of the story, because I like to be above and beyond that level for beating the final boss battle. Now, I didn't force Joe at first to play every side mission possible in the very beginning. So one of the first very intriguing and hilarious parts was where you had to gather all of these random cats for this little girl, and Joe probably ran around the entire district for at least 30 minutes trying to catch these cats, and to be quite honest, it was rather entertaining, clearly frustrating, but absolutely fun, definitely absurd, and Joe didn't, in the end, enjoy that part, even though he was very frustrated with all of the hissing cats at him. Besides Joe having to find all of these cats, which was very frustrating to him, we did find it very interesting that we had to go throughout all the districts and throughout the entire game finding all of these music clips. That was a lot of fun, and I thought it added an extra oomph to the game. We also thought it was very interesting when Tifa helps Cloud get his basically apartment. His next door neighbor was very unusual. And why does he have a number on his arm? Like, that really starts to make you question what exactly is going on and why are you wearing like a cape? Like, you definitely are giving me sketchy vibes. And we'll get to that at the end of this review, but still, why? It's so weird. Currently, enough about those weird side parts. Let's move on to a little bit more of the characters and their developments. You do over time get to have a part of Jessie's backstory, and you get to meet her mother and her dad. And her dad's story was completely heart-wrenching. Like, I almost came to tears. Now, I didn't come to tears just yet because I didn't quite have a good, enough story or background of Jessie and the crew, but it did definitely reach my heart, and it definitely got me teary-eyed. And it really gives you an idea of what exactly is this Mako and all of this crazy stuff that's controlling everything. And it makes you really sad to hear of what happened to Jessie's dad. And then they did end up making it kind of funny in regards to Wedge always spazzing about Jessie's mom's pizza. That kind of made it lighthearted, at least for the beginning of the game, but enough to get you to feel sorry and really start getting an idea of who these characters are and why they're doing what they're doing. Okay, y'all, I lied. I'm so sorry, but I have to talk about this fun dart game that we wound up playing for at least another 15 minutes because we just had to get this high score, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a great ending to one of the first few chapters. And I'm just going to kind of skip right through and talk about Aerith and how much of a beautiful soul she is. You do get to know Aerith in regards to her backline story, and she tells Cloud of a soldier that she once loved. And to be honest, I got really close to tears on this part. And then you do meet Aerith's stepmom and her love story and how she came to have Aerith as her daughter. And at that point, I was such a wreck. I wound up crying because Aerith is just such a beautiful creature. She's a beautiful soul, absolutely like a princess, a heart of gold, and she's just she's so light and natural, and she just naturally wants to help people and take care of people. And then you really start to getting an understanding of, why she is so close and relates different things to flowers. And the reason why is she's so lighthearted and she's so meek. She's a beautiful, beautiful person. And the way she takes care of Marlene in one of the scenes where she's protecting her and is encouraging Marlene that it's okay to not be scared, and to take my hand, I will protect you. And then she defends Marlene in one of the scenes. You just really get a beautiful personality out of Aerith, and I wholeheartedly am rooting for Aerith and Cloud to be together, and I really want this. And if anything, I'm willing to let go of Aerith if that's my final thing that's going to be provided to me. I don't really know how to explain it. I really want Aerith, but if I have to, I can settle for Tifa, but I want Aerith. Okay, I might have gotten a little sidetracked again, I'm sorry, but let's actually proceed with the story. At this point, you do start getting some flashbacks of Tifa and Cloud when they were young kids, and it really gives you a little bit more depth and explanation of their close friendship and how they really knew each other. And I really liked this extra part of the story. even though I want Cloud with Aerith. Now, the game isn't all about just a sad story at times with some pretty colors. You do get to do a really fun squat challenge, and at one point you're inside these tunnels underneath the districts, and you turn into frogs. And to be honest, it made it rather humorous, and we laughed quite a bit, especially when Cloud and Barrett turned into frogs. We laughed extremely hard. But I'm not gonna lie, some of the ghosts were kind of creepy in these scenes, and these boss-like battles were extremely difficult, but it did keep our interest and it kept it fun. But at the same time of these few chapters that were kind of going through it, kind of dragged on and didn't give you much of the plot points that we were wanting to know. It just kind of repeated itself almost, and even Tifa had a few repeated lines about taking a shower. To be honest, it felt like it was overused, but to be honest, that was the only real complaint that we felt like we had about the game, and I can live with that. For the rest of the story, you do start getting really good information about this game, and I'm okay with that. Well, now we're moving on to the more juicier parts of the ending of the game. Well, technically the last few hours. So at this point, Barrett starts to become less of a hard ass, let's be honest, and it felt nicer to be around him. He didn't seem like a jerk. He just wants to have a better world where it once was, and everyone was kind, everyone was great and loving, and he just wants a happy place for him and Marlene. And you really are starting to just get that's his motivation, is Marlene. And then you start getting into the really heartfelt crap. I cried so many times from here on out. I cried when Biggs and Jesse died, when Wedge was seriously injured, and all he wants to do is, be a team player. He wants to help, but he feel like he can't. And that was heart-wrenching to me. I got a little teary-eyed there, and it was way, way too much to handle to just see Cloud come close to tears, especially when he's just holding Jessie and her last words. That was... the silence is meant for those moments of tears. And when he finally gets to save Aerith, and you get to see her bedroom, and, he takes a really good step towards understanding her and her history, I came really close to crying again because it was just so heart-wrenching. And up until all of that moment, it's just completely going and going, and I was like, I don't even know what to think here. And then you run into Sephiroth, who freaking kills Barrett, and then Barrett ends up living because of these ghost helpers who have a name, and I'm completely losing track of what their name is called. But then they bring him back to life because they can help with time, and and they can help make sure that they assist with destiny, and they can't quite grasp. Well, I can't quite grasp if they're good or bad, but they end up helping Barrett out, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, you do get to meet another character, and his name is Red 13, and he is so cute, and I just want him as a kitty, and even though he's a really big lion, and especially when he assists everyone, and it was really cute watching him pulling the levers. But just everything in this scene was just emotional, and if it wasn't emotional, it was action-packed. And you get all of these really cool boss battles, and then all of a sudden, Sephiroth is there, and then he's not, and his little feathers are just flying everywhere, and it just... he makes you wonder, what on earth is he? And then you do kind of get an idea that Jenova is this really creepy figure who's basically providing this life to this Mako factory, I'm assuming. I'm hoping we get clarification on that, at least for me, who's not, too known of a story understander. But basically, you get an understanding that Jenova, this creepy person, is Sephiroth's mother. I don't know how that's possible, but does that relate to the person who I mentioned in the very beginning that has a random number on his arm? You know, like, is he a part of with Red 13 and Sephiroth? And are these soldiers then all a part of this Genova? I don't know. Or maybe they're just kind of connected, but they're not really connected. Either way, this whole story just led me to have my mouth open in awe in these last few scenes, and I had a lot of questions. And then right before you end up battling against Sephiroth with the whole team and Cloud, you get to meet these like 4 weird creatures that are basically like those ghost-like figures. They help control time. And maybe that's how they affected time when they wound up beating them to get to Sephiroth and then destroying Sephiroth. Is that why then we get this weird random person flashbacks named Zack who's friends with Cloud? Is that why in the ending scene, you know, all of a sudden, like, Aerith gets a sense of Zack and then, you know, Zack and Cloud have a slight connection? And then it makes you wonder, okay, so is this Zack person who's all of a sudden just popping up in memories, is he the person who was engaged to Aerith? And if they did mess with time, does that mean Aerith is going to be with Zack and not Cloud, which I really want her with Cloud. But then maybe I'm okay with Cloud being with Tifa. But then at the very end, you know, Barrett's moving forward and he's like, I'm coming for you, Marlene. I'm going to do this for you. It's like, okay, I'm really wanting to know this, what happens next. But at the same time, there's leaving me with so much questions. And I need to know when this next game is coming out, people. Give me the next date of release. Okay, so I may or may not have just passed and totally have gone off script. But to be honest, if you haven't played this game, or at least watched the cutscenes, I encourage you to do so. There's so much questions to be left, and curiosity that's just peaked. You have to know what happens next. And all I have to say is this game was absolutely fantastic, completely mind-blowing, and to be honest, it's getting pretty on par with Kingdom Hearts, and that takes a lot. But then you do have to question materia, being that it's the essence of power that can be withheld. And this whole Mako, you know, and still questioning, besides it killing the world, what all does it truly entail? And how in depth is it really killing this world and affecting everyone? Did I miss something? Or is there a key point that I just don't know about? How about this? Let me know your thoughts or your feelings about the game below. Please try to not give me any spoilers. Like I said, I am trying to not catch any spoilers, and I'll probably have Joe reviewed any comments just in case. So if you can, leave a message at the very bottom. Leave us a message on Instagram. We're also there. Y'all know what to do. Click that thumbs up button and give us a great follow, and we would love to have you guys join us on all of our reviews and our upcoming discussions in the future. That is it, y'all, and we hope to see you next time. If you stick around, you'll see some extra pictures of a beagle named Stamp. That's right, Stamp, and he's a beagle, and he's throughout a good part of the game, just there being adorable. Enjoy.